When that homeless man offered me that dirty coin for $2, I didn't know I was about to change our lives. I just thought he was trying to get rid of junk, maybe score enough for a hot meal. I had no idea he was testing me, or that what happened next would teach me more about humanity than any sermon or motivational speech ever could. But I'm getting ahead of myself.
My name's Michael Torres, and at 40 years old, I thought I had life pretty much figured out. Not in an arrogant way, just in that comfortable, slightly numb way middle-class people do when they've accepted their ceiling. I managed a print shop in downtown Portland. Made decent money, not vacation in Europe money, but take the kids to Disneyland every few years money. My wife Sarah taught third grade. Between us, we cleared about $90,000 a year before taxes. We had 2 kids. Emma was 13, all braces and attitude. Jake was 9 and obsessed with dinosaurs. We lived in a 3-bedroom ranch in Beaverton that we'd bought in 2019, right before everything went crazy. Our mortgage was $2,800 a month, manageable but tight. The thing about being middle class in 2025 is that you're constantly doing math in your head. Can we afford new tires this month? Should we skip Emma's orthodontist payment to fix the water heater? Is generic cereal really that much worse than the name brand? I'd stopped dreaming big somewhere around 35, started focusing on just keeping the boat steady. Sarah used to joke that I'd become predictable. "Let me guess," she'd say on Friday nights, "you want to order Thai food and watch whatever Marvel thing just came out." She wasn't wrong. The Tuesday it all started, I was doing my usual lunch routine. Walk 4 blocks to Subway, get the turkey on wheat with extra pickles, walk back while scrolling through my phone. It was October 17th. I remember because it was our anniversary the next day, and I still hadn't figured out what to get Sarah. 15 years. Not a milestone, but not nothing either. The weather had that sharp autumn bite that makes you wish you'd grabbed a heavier jacket. Leaves were doing that crunchy thing under my feet. The sun was out, but it didn't have any warmth to it, just harsh light that made everything look washed out and slightly depressing. I was walking past the entrance to Waterfront Park when I saw him. He was sitting on a piece of cardboard, back against the brick wall of a closed-down bookstore. His sign said, "Veteran, anything helps," in faded marker. He had a gray beard that looked like it had been growing wild for months, and a green military jacket that might have been genuine or might have been from Goodwill. Hard to tell. I usually don't stop, not because I'm heartless, but because Portland has a complicated relationship with homelessness, and I'd learned the hard way that engaging can lead to situations I'm not equipped to handle. But something made me pause that day. Maybe it was guilt about the $8 sandwich in my hand. Maybe it was the anniversary thing making me feel sentimental. He was holding something up. "Hey there, friend," he said. His voice was surprisingly clear, not slurred or confused. "You look like a collector. Got something special here. $2. I stepped closer, curiosity overriding caution. In his palm was a coin, dirty, tarnished almost black, about the size of a $half but thicker. I could barely make out some kind of face on one side, an eagle on the other. "It's old," he said, watching my face carefully. "Real old. Found it in my grandfather's things before things went south for me." He smiled, showing gaps in his teeth. "Figured you'd appreciate it more than the pawn shop would." I should have kept walking. I'd had 100 things to do back at the shop. But there was something in his eyes, this weird intensity, like he was measuring me somehow. $2? I asked. $2, he confirmed. I pulled out my wallet, had a 5. "I don't have exact change." "Keep it." He pressed the coin into my hand before I could argue. "Buy yourself a coffee with the change, it's cold out." The coin was heavier than I expected, dense. The metal was cool against my palm, and even through the grime, I could feel raised details, intricate designs that suggested someone had spent real time crafting this thing. "What is it?" I asked. He smiled wider. "That's for you to find out. Let's just say my grandfather knew a thing or two about value." He tapped the side of his nose. "Real value, not just the paper kind." "That's cryptic." "Life's cryptic, friend." He settled back against the wall, looking satisfied. "You have a good day now, and happy anniversary tomorrow." I froze. "How did you—" But he'd already closed his eyes, dismissing me. I stood there for a few seconds, completely thrown. There was no way he could have known about my anniversary. I hadn't said anything, hadn't even pulled out my phone where maybe he could have glimpsed a calendar reminder. Probably just a lucky guess, I told myself. 15 years of marriage teaches you that not everything needs an explanation. I pocketed the coin and headed back to work. Act 2. Complication. The coin sat on my desk for 3 days. Every time I looked at it, I felt this weird pull, like it was daring me to figure out what it was. But I was busy. We had a rush order for a real estate company's new brochures. The printer was jamming every 40 minutes. Jake had a science project due. Emma needed money for a field trip. Life happened, and the coin became part of the desk clutter alongside receipts I kept meaning to file and business cards from people I'd never call. Friday evening, I was closing up shop when Danny came by. Danny Mercer was one of those guys who shows up at a print shop once a month with some scheme. He ran a pawn shop 3 blocks over, Mercer's Trade and Treasure, and was always trying to get me to print flyers for half price in exchange for store credit I'd never use. He had the kind of smile that made you want to count your fingers after shaking his hand. "Mike!" He pushed through the door just as I was locking it. "Glad I caught you." "Danny, we're closed." "Just 2 seconds." He squeezed past me. "I was walking by, saw your light on. Thought I'd check if you reconsidered that bulk discount for my holiday flyers." "No." He laughed, looking around the shop like he was casing it. His eyes landed on my desk, on the coin, sitting there next to my coffee mug. Something shifted in his expression, just for a second, like a curtain pulled back and then quickly closed again. "What's that?" He moved closer. "Nothing, just something I picked up." He picked it up before I could stop him, turning it over in his fingers. The overhead fluorescence caught the metal, and for the first time, I noticed a date, partially worn away but visible. 1793. Danny's voice had changed. Casual forced itself over urgency. "Where'd you get this?" "Some guy on the street, paid $2 for it." $2? He laughed, but it sounded hollow. "Man, you got ripped off. This is garbage. Look how tarnished it is. Probably not even real copper." He tossed it back on my desk like it was worthless. "But hey, if you want to get rid of it, I'll give you 5. Consider it a favor." I stared at him. "You just said it was garbage." "It is, but I like weird stuff, conversation pieces." He pulled out his wallet. "Actually, tell you what, I'll give you 10. That's 5 times what you paid. Not a bad return." "Danny, if it's garbage, why would you pay me 5 times what I paid?" "I'm a generous guy." But his smile was tighter now. "Come on, Mike, $10. Easy money." "I think I'll hold on to it." His jaw tensed. 15. Not interested. 20. I picked up the coin and put it in my pocket. "Why are you so desperate for a piece of garbage?" Okay, you got me. It's kind of cool looking. Thought it might clean up nice. But if you don't want to sell it, that's fine. Your loss." He left before I could respond. I stood in the empty shop feeling the weight of the coin in my pocket. $25 for something he'd called garbage 30 seconds earlier. Yeah, something was definitely off. That night, after the kids were in bed, I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop while Sarah graded papers. "What are you doing?" she asked, looking over her reading glasses. "Research." "On." I showed her the coin, trying to figure out what it is. She squinted at it. "Looks old." "Where'd you get it?" "Homeless guy sold it to me for $2. "Michael." She set down her pen. "Please tell me you're not getting into coin collecting. We can't afford another hobby." "I'm not. I'm just curious. Some guy at the shop tried to buy it off me for $25. "For that? Why?" "That's what I'm trying to figure out." I typed "Old American Coin, 1793" into Google. The search results made my stomach drop. "Liberty Cap half-cent," I read aloud. "First American coins minted for general circulation. Extremely rare." Depending on condition and variety, I scrolled down. Holy shit! "Language," Sarah said automatically. "Sarah, look at this." I turned the laptop toward her. She leaned in, reading. Her eyes got wider. The article showed coins that looked almost identical to mine. The prices listed made me dizzy. Even in poor condition, they started at $2,000. Better examples went for $10,000, $20,000, $50,000. One had sold at auction for over $90,000. "That can't be right," Sarah whispered. "There's more." I clicked through to a numismatic forum. "See this? People talking about different varieties. Some are common, relatively speaking, but others." I found a thread discussing the 1793 Liberty Cap lettered edge variant. This one, only a few hundred believed to exist. How much? I found an auction result from 6 months ago. $47,000. And that was for one graded as very fine, which apparently means it's been heavily circulated. We both stared at the grimy coin on our table. We need to get this authenticated, Sarah said. Yeah, but where? I don't know anything about coins. Google it? I found a place called Pacific Northwest Numismatics downtown. They had good reviews, specialized in early American coins. I copied down their address. I'm going tomorrow, I said. Sarah picked up the coin carefully, like it might shatter. Do you think that homeless man knew? What? What it was worth? I mean, why else would he sell it for $2? I thought about his eyes, that measuring look. Happy anniversary tomorrow, he'd said. I don't know, I admitted, but I'm going to find out. Pacific Northwest Numismatics occupied a narrow storefront between a Starbucks and a Thai restaurant. The windows were covered with security bars, and a sign on the door said, "Appointments preferred, walk-ins welcome." I walked in Saturday morning feeling like an imposter, like someone was going to take one look at me and laugh me out of the store.
I spent the rest of Saturday in a daze. The coin was real, worth potentially $45,000, maybe more. That was Emma's braces paid for, Jake's college fund started, the water heater fixed, new tires, Sarah's student loans knocked down, breathing room. But I couldn't shake the feeling that I didn't deserve it. I'd paid $2 for something worth thousands. The homeless man had to have known what it was. Edward's cryptic comments confirmed it. So why? Why give it away? Sunday morning, I went back to Waterfront Park. The spot where he'd been sitting was empty, just a darker patch on the sidewalk where his cardboard had been. I walked up and down the waterfront for an hour, asked other homeless folks if they'd seen a guy with a gray beard, military jacket. Most ignored me. One woman said, "Sounds like Joe, but Joe moves around, could be anywhere." I left my name and number with an outreach worker at a nearby shelter. If you see him, please tell him Michael is looking for him. Tell him it's about the coin. She looked at me skeptically, but took the information. I went home feeling hollow. Monday afternoon, Danny showed up at the print shop again. "Mike, my man!" He had that forced casual thing going on again. "You think about my offer?" "What offer?" "The coin. I'll go 30, cash, right now." I kept working on a layout, didn't look up. "Not interested." 40. Now I looked up. "Why do you want it so badly?" "I told you, I like weird stuff." "Danny, cut the shit. What do you know about that coin?" He shifted his weight, looked around to make sure we were alone. "Okay, fine. You want the truth? I know coins. It's part of what I do at the shop. When I saw that one, I recognized it might be worth something. Thought I'd make a quick profit. That's literally my job." "How much do you think it's worth?" "A few hundred, maybe 1,000 if it's real and I find the right buyer. So $40 is me being generous." He was lying. I could see it in every line of his body. I had it looked at by an expert. His expression went blank. "Yeah?" "Yeah. Turns out it's worth a bit more than 1,000. "How much more?" "Enough that I'm not selling it to you for $40. His jaw tightened. "Who'd you take it to?" "Pacific Northwest Numismatics." "Chen." He said it like a curse word. "That old bastard probably tried to buy it off you below value." "Actually, he was very helpful. Told me exactly what it is and what it's worth. Even offered to help me authenticate it." Danny's face went red. "You're making a mistake, Mike. Chen's gonna screw you. That's what he does. He'll authenticate it, sure, but then he'll manipulate the grade, get it marked lower than it should be, buy it from you cheap. That's his game." "Why would he do that?" "Because he's a businessman. We all are. You think any of us are looking out for you? But I'm being straight with you. $50, final offer. Take it or leave it." "Leave it? You're a fucking idiot." He turned to go, then turned back. "You know what? Keep it. See what happens. Just don't come crying to me when Chen fucks you over or some crackhead follows you home and puts a knife in your ribs for it." He slammed the door hard enough to rattle the glass. I stood there, adrenaline dumping into my system. Then I pulled out my phone and called Edward Chen. Pacific Northwest Numismatics. The woman answered. Hi, this is Michael Torres. I came in Saturday with a Liberty Cap half cent. Is Edward available?
You're homeless. I'm free. He looked at me with those intense eyes. No mortgage, no boss, no debt, no one depending on me to be anywhere or do anything. I go where I want, when I want, talk to who I want, help who I need to help. That coin? He waved a hand dismissively. That coin was my grandfather's. He told me, Joe, when you find the right person, pass it on. You'll know who needs it. But $40,000 would make me a target, would change how people see me, would take away the one thing I value, simplicity. He smiled. Besides, I didn't give it away. I sold it for $2. That's what it was worth to me. What it was worth to you, that's between you and the universe. I pulled out my wallet. Inside was $5,000 in cash. I'd been carrying it around for weeks, hoping to find him. Please, I said, take this. It's only fair. He looked at the money, then at me. What would I do with that? Anything, everything. Get an apartment, get help, whatever you need. I don't need anything. He pushed the money back gently. But thank you. The offering is what matters. I can't just... You want to do something for me? He leaned forward. Find someone else, someone who needs help. Something small. Do it anonymously. Don't expect thanks. That's how you pay it forward. That's not enough. It's more than enough. He stood up, gathering his things. You were supposed to have that coin, Michael. Your wife needed the student loans gone. Your daughter needed braces. Your son needed to know his dad could make magic happen. And you needed to remember that the universe provides. Sometimes in weird ways, but it provides. How do you know all that? I pay attention. People tell you everything you need to know if you listen. He shouldered his backpack. I'm moving on, heading south before winter really hits. But I want you to promise me something. Anything. Don't feel guilty. Guilt is a poison. You didn't take advantage of me. I gave you a gift. Accept it, use it, be better for it. That's the only payment I want. He walked away before I could respond. I sat there on the sidewalk, holding $5,000 in cash, feeling like I'd just been blessed by some kind of prophet. Act 3. Resolution. That night, I told Sarah everything Joe had said. So, he just doesn't want anything? She was incredulous. He wants us to pay it forward. That's it? That's it. She was quiet for a long time. Then, so what do we do? I thought about it, about Joe's words, about the coin, about how one small act had changed our entire trajectory. We look for our moment. We find someone who needs help, and we give it. How do we know who? Joe said we'd know. 2 weeks later, we found out. Emma came home from school crying. Her best friend Malia's family was being evicted. Her dad had lost his job, they'd fallen behind in rent, and the landlord was giving them 30 days to get out. Can we do something? Emma asked through tears. Can we help them? Sarah and I looked at each other. How much do they need? I asked. I don't know, 3 months' rent? That's what Mom said they're behind. I called Malia's mother that night, explained we'd had some unexpected good fortune and wanted to help. She was too proud to accept at first. I had to insist, had to tell her about the coin, about Joe, about paying it forward. Finally, she agreed. Their rent was $1,400 a month. 3 months was $4,200. We added in another $800 for them to have some buffer. $5,000. Exactly the amount I'd tried to give Joe. We handed them a cashier's check, made out to their landlord. Watched Malia's mother cry. Watched her dad, a proud man, who'd been broken by circumstances, straighten his shoulders a little bit. "We'll pay you back," he promised. "No," I said. "Pass it forward. When you're back on your feet, help someone else." Emma hugged Malia. Both girls were crying. Sarah squeezed my hand. "That's one," she whispered. Over the next year, we found more moments. A teacher at Sarah's school whose car broke down, we paid for the repairs. A customer at the print shop who mentioned their kid needed surgery, we covered their deductible. Small things, anonymous when we could manage it, not enough to make us broke, but enough to help. We kept $15,000 in savings, emergency fund. The rest we used for good. Not all at once, not recklessly, but deliberately. We became the kind of people who looked for opportunities to help. And it changed us. Jake started collecting cans to donate the recycling money to the homeless shelter. Emma volunteered at a food bank. Sarah organized a coat drive at her school. We weren't saints. We didn't quit our jobs and dedicate ourselves to charity. We got better at seeing need, at responding to it. 6 months after selling the coin, Danny showed up at my shop one last time. I hadn't seen him since our confrontation. Heard he'd gotten into trouble, some scandal with stolen merchandise at his pawn shop. Rumors that he might face charges. He looked smaller than I remembered, defeated. "Mike, can we talk?" I almost said no, but I thought about Joe, about giving people chances. "Sure." He sat down, fidgeting with his hands. "I owe you an apology. The way I acted about that coin, I was a dick." "You were." "I knew it was worth a lot. Thought if I could flip it quick, I could clear some debts. Pawn shop's not doing great. I got desperate. But that's not an excuse. You deserved honesty. I'm sorry." I studied him. Saw the genuine remorse there. Apology accepted. "I heard what you did. For Malia's family, the other people you've helped. You're better than me. Always were." "I'm not better than anyone. I just got lucky." "Nah," he stood up. "Luck is finding the coin. What you did with it, that's character." He left before I could respond. I never saw him again. Heard he got into trouble, some scandal with stolen merchandise at his pawn shop. Rumors that he might face charges. I hope he made it. A year after finding the coin, I went back to Waterfront Park one more time. Not looking for Joe. I knew I wouldn't find him. Just to sit, to remember. The bookstore was still closed. The sidewalk looked the same, but something felt different. Lighter. My phone buzzed. Text from Sarah. "Jake's science project won first place. Emma made honor roll. We're celebrating tonight. Love you." I texted back. "Love you too. Be home soon." I stood up, brushed off my jeans, and started walking back to work. Behind me, a young woman walked past pushing a stroller. A businessman talked loudly on his phone about quarterly earnings. A homeless man with a dog asked for change, and I gave him a $20. God bless. You too. The city moved around me. Complicated, messy, full of people trying to survive, trying to help, trying to hurt, trying to heal. And somewhere in that chaos, there was a lesson. Not about money, not really. About seeing people, about recognizing when someone needs help, about having the courage to give without expecting return, about trusting that the universe might just balance itself out if we help it along. Epilogue. 2 years later, Sarah got a promotion. Jake's dinosaur obsession evolved into a passion for paleontology. He talks now about studying it in college. Emma's saving money from her part-time job to travel after high school graduation. We're not rich. The $43,000 is long gone, invested in our life and others' lives. We still worry about money sometimes, still do the math, but we're different people than we were. Last month,
I found a wallet in the subway parking lot, $300 inside, plus credit cards and an ID. I tracked down the owner, an elderly woman who'd lost it while getting groceries. She cried when I returned it, tried to give me a reward. I refused. Told her about Joe, about the coin, about paying it forward. When you get a chance, I said, help someone else. She promised she would. I believe her. Because that's the thing about kindness. It's contagious. Once you start looking for opportunities to help, you see them everywhere. Once you start acting on them, others notice. They start doing the same. Joe knew that. He gave me a coin worth $50,000, knowing I'd do something good with it. Not because he knew me personally, but because he saw something in that brief interaction outside Subway. Some quality that told me I was ready. Ready to receive, ready to give, ready to change. I think about him sometimes. Wonder where he is, if he's warm, if he's okay. But mostly I try to honor what he taught me. That value isn't just about money. It's about what you do with what you're given. The generosity creates ripples. Small acts